Have you ever looked at, your overflowing inbox or that huge stack of books you mean to read, or even just scrolling online and felt like you're constantly reading, but like nothing's really sticking? Like you finish the day feeling busy, but not actually smarter or more informed. It's super frustrating, right? Leaves you feeling kind of overwhelmed.
Oh, absolutely. That feeling, that sense of drowning in information overload. That's exactly what we're diving into today. This deep dive is all about the surprisingly complex world of speed reading. We're looking at insights from a few really great sources here. Speed Reading Mastery by Albert Cerrone, Speed Reading, How to Read a Book a Day
Hmm.
by Ryan James, and also the 1-Hour Speed Writing Book by Claude Momadesh.
Okay.
And our mission really is to show that speed reading isn't just about, blazing through pages. It's about reading smarter, changing how you engage with text, and unlocking, hopefully, a whole new level of understanding and efficiency for you.
Okay, so let's unpack that because honestly, when I hear speed reading, my first thought is just, yeah, reading super, super fast, like eyes blurring across the page. Is that the first big idea we need to tackle? Just pure speed.
That's definitely the biggest misconception, yeah. And it's fundamentally, well, not quite right. What's really interesting, and this comes up across the sources, is that speed reading does not necessarily mean fast reading. It's more about developing what they call multiple speeds of reading.
Multiple speeds, like gears in a car.
Exactly like that. Think about it. You wouldn't drive the same speed on a highway as you would in a school zone, right? It's the same idea. The real skill, as one source puts it, is knowing how fast to read is actually more important than being able to read very fast or read very slow. It's about strategy,
Oh, okay.
knowing when to accelerate for the gist, when to cruise for understanding, and importantly, when to slow right down for complex stuff or things you really want to savor. It all depends on why you're reading it.
Whoa, that's powerful. Seriously, that completely reframes it for me. So it's strategic and adaptable, not just a frantic race. I never thought of it that way. Okay, so if it's not just raw speed, then how does speed reading actually work? Like what's happening differently compared to how we normally read?
Right, and that gets to the core mechanics of reading itself. Traditionally, back in school, we were all taught to read word by word, almost sounding each one out, even if it's just silently in our heads. And that process, it's actually pretty slow. The average person clocks in around, what, 200, 250 words per minute?
Yeah, that sounds about right for me, maybe even slower sometimes.
Exactly. So speed reading techniques are designed to help you break those less efficient habits we all picked up. There are a couple of key things the sources really focus on.
Okay, like what kind of habits? I bet I have all of them.
Well, the big one is tackling something called subvocalization.
Subvocalization.
Yeah, that's basically the inner voice you hear, pronouncing each word as you read it. It's a leftover from learning to read out loud. And while it can be helpful for really dense material, it puts a hard cap on your speed because you can basically only read as fast as you can mentally speak. That's that 250 words per minute ceiling, more or less.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I am doing that. So the goal is to what? Silence the inner narrator? That sounds really weirdly difficult. How do you even do that?
It does feel weird at first, definitely. But the idea is to shift towards visual reading. So you're training your brain to grasp the meaning of words and phrases directly from sight without needing that intermediate step of hearing them. That's where the big speed increases happen, potentially hitting averages of 700 words per minute, maybe even more.
700? Okay, wow.
And linked to that is the second technique, reducing eye fixation time and increasing your span of vision.
Eye fixation, like how long my eye rests on a word.
Exactly. Most people fixate on almost every single word. Speed reading trains your eyes to take in chunks of words, groups of 3, 5, eventually maybe even 10 or more words, or even multiple lines in a single fixation. As one source neatly puts it, the fewer fixations, the faster reading. Instead of one word, you're grabbing phrases or ideas at a glance.
That sounds like, it's not just a minor adjustment, is it? It feels like completely retraining how my eyes and brain talk to each other. How do you practically make your eyes do that, though? Mine tend to jump back all the time.
Yeah, regression, that jumping back, is super common. And you're right, it takes practice. But there are tools. One really practical technique is called meta-guiding. It's basically using a pointer, could be your finger, a pen, whatever, to physically guide your eyes across the line of text.
Okay, like I used to do as a kid.
Sort of, but with a purpose. It does two key things. First, it sets a consistent pace so you don't linger too long. Second, it helps prevent that regression, that skipping back, because your eyes follow the forward motion. It actively keeps you moving forward. And for reading on screens, there's even tech called rapid serial visual presentation, or RSVP.
RSVP, like for a party.
Yeah, different RSVP. This flashes words one at a time really quickly in the same spot on the screen. It forces your eyes to stay put and trains your brain to process words visually much faster, helping break that subvocalization habit too. These aren't just tricks, they're like active brain training exercises.
Okay, wow. So it's definitely a commitment. Lots of practice, specific techniques. It makes sense. But thinking about someone listening right now, what's the actual payoff? Why should you or I put in this effort? What are the real, maybe even transformative benefits beyond just, checking a book off the list faster?
Right, and this is where it gets really exciting, I think, because the benefits go way beyond just speed. Our sources are pretty clear that good speed reading doesn't mean sacrificing comprehension. In fact, they argue it often improves comprehension and retention of information.
Wait, improves comprehension? How does that work? Faster and better understanding.
It seems counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
But think about it. When you're reading faster, your brain has to be more focused, more engaged, less time for your mind to wander. That increased focus can actually lead to better understanding and recall. You become a more effective learner, absorbing new stuff quickly. And that, as the sources say, can open the door for many opportunities.
Opportunities like?
Well, career advancement, definitely. Keeping up with industry news, learning new skills, but also just personal growth, being able to explore topics you're curious about more easily. Plus, it improves your focus and concentration in general, which is huge in our distraction-filled world. It can even help reduce stress because you feel more on top of the information flow, less overwhelmed.
Less stress from reading faster. I like the sound of that.
And it goes even deeper. Some sources talk about boosting memory, creativity, and even logical thinking processes.
Yeah.
It's tied to this idea of neuroplasticity, basically. You're training your brain, building new, more efficient pathways for processing information. It's like upgrading your mental hardware.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just a reading hack. It's more like a cognitive upgrade. Better focus, less stress, maybe even more creative thinking. That's way more compelling than just reading fast. So, given all that, what are some concrete steps someone could take to actually start building this habit? And maybe just as importantly, are there times when you definitely shouldn't try to speed read?
Both excellent points. For integration, consistency is absolutely king. One source puts it simply: read every day, make it a habit, even if it's just a few minutes here, a few minutes there.
Yeah.
Like any skill, right? You got to practice. And creating the right conditions helps a ton. Turn off notifications, that's obvious but crucial. Good posture helps focus. Some even suggest a minute or two of like mindfulness or meditation before you start, just to clear your head.
Okay, setting the stage. Makes sense.
Yeah. And maybe reading in focused bursts, like 50-minute intervals with a 10-minute break,
Yeah.
helps maintain concentration without burnout. Oh, and always read with a purpose. Know why you're reading something before you start. Or you're looking for specific facts, the main argument. Just enjoy the prose. That goal shapes how you read.
Right, that connects back to the multiple speeds idea. Purpose dictates pace. Okay, so when is speed not the answer? When should you deliberately slow down?
Absolute critical question. And the answer is
Yeah.
you cannot speed read everything. That flexibility is key. Think about things like legal documents. Every single word matters intensely there. You can't skim a contract.
Definitely not.
Or personal letters where you want to feel the emotion. Or complex poetry. Or even novels sometimes where you want to savor the language, the imagery.
Yeah.
The whole experience is the point, not just information extraction. And obviously, if you need to memorize something verbatim, like studying for a technical exam, you need that slow, deliberate, maybe even repetitive reading.
So it's about having a toolkit, not just a hammer.
Precisely. You choose the right tool, the right speed for the job at hand based on the material and your purpose.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate for a sec here. We're talking about focus, minimizing distractions, reading with purpose, breaking bad habits. I mean, isn't some of this just common sense? Like, isn't it just what a good reader naturally does? How is speed reading fundamentally different from just being disciplined and concentrating?
That's a really fair challenge, and it's one that comes up. And yeah, there's overlap with general good reading habits for sure. But I think the key difference is the intentional and systematic approach speed reading takes to unlearning those really deep-seated, inefficient habits most of us learned way back when, like the word-by-word reading, the subvocalization.
So it's more active unlearning, not just passive good practice.
Exactly. It's not just about trying to focus harder within your existing framework. It's about actively rewiring the visual and cognitive processes themselves. The sources stress that poor reading habits can be changed and unlearned. It's about consciously optimizing how your brain takes in text, moving beyond the limitations we were likely taught. It becomes more of a meta skill, a skill that helps you learn other things more effectively. It changes your whole approach to reading, leveraging that neuroplasticity we mentioned to build faster pathways, allowing for quicker synthesis, more complex thought. It's more than just buckling down. So if you take just one thing away from our deep dive today, maybe let it be this. Speed reading isn't some shallow trick to just, devour pages faster. It's really a transformative cognitive skill. It teaches you to read smarter by mastering those multiple reading speeds, by actively engaging and, yeah, even rewiring your brain. And ultimately, that enhances not just your speed, but your comprehension, your focus. And it really can open up a whole world of knowledge and opportunity for you.
I love that framing. Smarter, not just faster. It really does shift the whole perspective, doesn't it? Takes reading from something that can feel like a chore or a race against the clock to this incredibly powerful, lifelong tool you can keep sharpening. Makes you feel kind of empowered.
Yeah.
Thanks. So this is great for breaking it all down. And if you're listening and feeling inspired to start your own speed reading journey or just understand it better, we've got you covered. You'll find links to the books we mentioned: Speed Reading Mastery by Albert Cerrone, Speed Reading, How to Read a Book a Day by Ryan James, and the 1-Hour Speed Reading book by Claude Mamadash right there in the description of this deep dive.
Yeah, definitely check those out. And we'd love to hear from you too. Drop a comment below and let us know. What's maybe one specific reading habit you realize you have now that you might want to challenge? Or which speed reading technique sounds the most interesting or maybe the most daunting to try first? We'll be looking forward to reading your thoughts.